Americans who want to retire in Europe usually come in 3 stages. Stage number 1 is the dreamer. You watch a few videos about Portugal or Italy and you think, maybe one day I'm also going to move. Stage 2 is the researcher. You have your spreadsheets, you have read some blog articles, and you have been planning this for months, sometimes for years, but you are still not there. And stage 3 is the mover. Those people know exactly which visa they're applying for, what it costs, and what it does to their taxes. Most people I talk to are in stage number 2. So in this video, I'll walk you through the 4 best retirement visas in Europe, ordered from the lowest income requirement to the highest income requirement. And one of them, the last one, only taxes the money that you actually bring into the country. Hi, my name is Ben. I left Germany in 2020 and since then I've lived long-term in 7 countries and I hold 5 active residencies. I talk to Americans planning to retire abroad every single week. So visa number 1, and this is the easiest one to qualify for, is in Portugal with a visa called the D7. The D7 is what's called a passive income visa. What that means is you show Portugal that you have money coming in every month, for example, social security or a pension or rental income, and in return, they let you live there. And the requirements are surprisingly modest. As I'm recording this in 2026, it's about 920 euros a month as a single person, about half of that if you also bring your spouse. And the number moves a little every year because it's tied to the Portuguese minimum wage. Most people collecting social security already clear that bar easily. Now, Portugal taxes your worldwide income at progressive rates, and that also includes your social security. There used to be a special regime called the NHR, and that made Portugal a tax paradise, but that one is closed for new applicants since 2024. The tax treaty makes sure that you don't pay full taxes twice, but you will pay Portuguese taxes. Healthcare is one of the main reasons people look at Europe in the first place, and private health insurance in Portugal costs a fraction of what most Americans pay for Medicare plus a supplement plan. On top of that, your residence permit lets you travel freely across the Schengen zone, that's around 29 European countries, with no extra visas needed. The process itself is the slowest of the 4. The Portuguese immigration agency is famously backed up, so you have to bring patience. But after 5 years, you can also apply for permanent residency. And now citizenship. This one just changed. Portugal moved the citizenship timeline from 5 years to 10, and that law passed in 2026. So if you read an older article promising the Portuguese passport after 5 years, unfortunately, that option is gone. But still, Portugal is the lowest entry option, at least financially, into Europe. So if your retirement income is under, let's say, $3,000 a month, Portugal is one of the best options out of those 4 for you. By the way, if you are at that researcher stage that I mentioned at the beginning, I made a free Retire Abroad checklist that puts all of these decisions in the right order, and the link is the first one in the comments. Now, back to the visas. So for number 2, you need more income, and that is in Spain with the non-lucrative visa. Non-lucrative simply means that you promise not to work in Spain while you are on that visa. Right now, you need to show about 2,400 euros a month as a single person, around 3,000 as a couple, plus private health insurance, which is mandatory here. And Spain's immigration process, at least compared to Portugal, is fast. It's definitely faster than immigrating to Portugal. And now let's talk about citizenship. Citizenship in Spain takes 10 years and there's a language test at A2 level, which sounds a little bit scary, but it's actually quite manageable. One problem is that Spain formally wants Americans to renounce their US passport, and most people obviously won't do that. In reality, this is not always enforced, however. So my advice is go for permanent residency after 5 years, keep your American passport, and skip the citizenship question at least at the beginning. If lifestyle is your main driver and you accept normal European taxes in exchange, Spain is the strongest lifestyle pick on this list. So let's reset for a second before we get into the next 2 visas. We had number 1, which is Portugal with the lowest income requirement, but at standard progressive tax rates. We have Spain, which asks for way more income, but also has a faster process, also at standard progressive taxes. Now the last 2 are the ones that people choose for tax reasons. Number 3 has the highest income requirement by far, and that is in Greece with the Financial Independence Visa, or FIP. Right now you need 3,500 euros a month as a single person and about 4,200 euros as a couple. But why would you pay that higher entry price? Because of one number, and that number is 7. Greece gives new residents a flat 7% tax on all foreign income, and and it stays that way for 15 years. That covers pensions, social security, dividends, rental income, and also capital gains. Only money you earn inside Greece gets taxed at normal Greek tax rates. Now, someone recently asked me on a call, and I'm quoting, that means the US isn't taxing, or is the US taxing as well plus the 7%? Which is a fair question, because as an American, you always file your taxes with the IRS no matter where you live. So very simplified, the tax treaty and the foreign tax credit make sure you don't pay full in both places. But the thing with Greece is you actually have to live in Greece to be able to take advantage of the tax regime. So you have to live there for more than half a year. So this is a full relocation decision, not a part-time play, which could be the case, for example, in the next one. And secondly, you need private health insurance the whole time because the public system isn't open for you on this visa. And the third thing that I want to mention that surprises a lot of people, money that is tax-free in the US is not automatically tax-free in places like Greece or Spain or Portugal. For example, Roth is tax-free in the US to withdraw, but that doesn't go for every single country on this list. Which brings us to number 4, the one I promised you at the beginning, the visa that only taxes money that you actually bring into the country. And that is Malta with the Malta Retirement Program, or short MRP. And a bit of personal history here. When I was choosing my own base back in 2020, I debated between Malta and Cyprus won for my situation. But for American retirees, Malta has benefits Cyprus simply doesn't have, starting with the fact that Malta is in the Schengen zone and Cyprus is not. With Malta, there's also no fixed monthly income number that you have to adhere to. Instead, your pension has to make up at least 75% of your income, and you have to secure housing as part of your application, either by renting or by buying. And now my favorite part, the tax system. Malta has what's called a remittance-based system. Malta only taxes the money that you transfer into Malta at a flat 15% with a minimum tax of 7,500 euros per year. So if you keep your investments abroad and you only transfer what you need for living, you pay 15% on that, and everything you leave outside of Malta stays untouched. So basically you decide how much you bring in, so you decide your tax bill, but you have a minimum amount of tax that you have to pay. Add that to the residency minimum stay requirement, which is 90 days a year on average, which is the lowest on the list, and the fact that everyone speaks English, and you know who Malta is built for. However, Malta is replacing this whole program in January 2027. The minimum tax is expected to double to 15,000 euros, and the property requirements will also go to a different level. But if your application is in by the end of 2026, you keep today's conditions locked until the end of 2031. And this is something I say about every program. The quicker you're inside an existing scheme, the better, because the rules get grandfathered in. Unless we talk about Portugal. So which visa fits you? If your income is modest and you want a low financial requirement, look at Portugal. If lifestyle comes first and you don't mind paying a lot of taxes, you can look at Spain. If you have the income and you want the lowest tax bill full time, you can look at Greece. And if you're looking for a base with minimum stay requirements that also speaks English, you can look at Malta. As I always say, there is no perfect country. There are only trade-offs that you can live with. Now, whichever visa you pick, the next thing you have to figure out is where your money should live, because US banks and foreign addresses usually do not mix. I made a video about the 3 bank accounts every American needs abroad, so you should watch this one next.